What's up, guys? Chronically Tilted Poker here. I am doing a 2-5 session review of which I played at the Wynn last night. This is day two of 6 or 7 in a row. I played 6 hours, was up about 550. 800 of that was up, was from the last 2 hours I played at 1-3. Uh, the game broke at like 4 a.m. and I played till 6 a.m. at 1-3 and ran pretty well against a bunch of fish and loose players. That was good because that certainly buoyed my day, of which was kind of a dry run bad day again at 2-5. I ran quite bad. I ran into a flop straight flush, and I tried to bluff catch, um, I, which was probably a little bit of a tilted play. Probably could have gotten out of that hand, but I actually also had a straight flush draw. I ran into a quads when I flopped. What did I have? I had a nut flush draw, and I played two streets, and then the board is like tripled up on the river, and then it's like I lose to a anything at that point, so I folded because they would all be full houses, so my flush was no good. Same guy, two hands separately, so he goes straight flush and quads, and he gets at least two streets of value from me on both of those. So and then there were probably 4 or 5 hands where I like let's see, I raised from under the gun. There's three callers in position, and then the big blind calls. Flop is queen 10 to rainbow. I have ace queen. Checks through. Turn is like a four. Big blind leads. I call. And then river is like a three or something, and big blind leads again, and I call. And I'm playing defensive position against the big blind who had 10-4, so you flop two pair. There's another one where I flopped ace jack, and it was a jack eight six board, and I bet, and there's a caller, and then 10 is the turn. I bet again, and he calls. River, a flush draw came in, so I check, hoping to induce a bluff maybe, and he bets. Um, and I call, and it turned out he had two pair. He turned like 10-6 or something. And then there was another hand where I had ace queen has been getting me with top pairs recently. And I'm calling these river bets. They're all relatively small. So if you look at my chart, it's like negative 0.5 degrees slope. It's like I'm just not winning hands, no huge pots that I'm losing, just turn folds, turn river calls for small value, and then over time I was down actually like 1.5K last night. Um, so I was stuck pretty hard and starting to get a little tilted. Maybe making a couple of those calls, I could have maybe folded the ace jack hand against the flush. He could have even had a flush. Um, then I get to the final 2-5 table, and there's only four people left. One of them's a whale, and she limps in, and I'm in the big blind, and I finally get a hand. I get pocket aces, and I raise to 20, and then she raises over top to 200, and I call. I could have bullied all the way up, but I wanted to see if she could bluff into me. Um, Flop is ace 8-6 rainbow or mono clubs. Obviously, I don't have any clubs. I check, she checks. Turn is a random card, not a club. I bet small, she calls. Turn is not another non-club, and then I just jam for about 100% pot, and she tanks and calls. Does I don't know what she had, but that brought me all the way back up from $1,500 stuck to maybe 400 behind. Then one or two more small pots when we were shorthanded, and then I ended out 2-5 at uh, 200 down, and then 800 ish. So I ended up 550 up when I played 1-3. None of the hands were pretty. I ran good. I flopped a set in like a multi-way pot in position against someone that was three streets of aggression. Probably had ace king because there was a king out there. I had set of nines, rainbow board. So I just absorbed all that. And then another guy, total fish, um, was betting pretty aggressively when I had a queen high flush draw and I hit the flush from the river. So got a couple hands to go. That kept me sane throughout the night. Overall grade was a C minus because I think the tilt was starting to creep in. with those river calls. Because when I'm playing my A game, I can fold top two pair if it's like the if my conscious thought is like with the whole hand the whole way through. I was just defaulting to like calling top pair, top picker is probably pretty good. I think that's an okay default when the pots are relatively small. Um, but still, that's like a $200 pot, $300 pot, $200 pot, $300 pot. No $1,000 pots, fortunately, but all right, I ended up tilt control. I'll talk about tilt control maybe later in this week because I'm going to talk about something different today, um, and that is how I manage my emotions. And I'd say a B plus. I'm getting better at that. Like you run bad, you got to be okay with losing. The sensation of losing is a very big thing in poker, and that can happen for hours and hours and hours. You can play for 20 hours straight and just lose everything, and it's almost like you're just getting punched in the face over and over and over. And if you don't like losing, like I don't like losing, it hurts. So you have to learn how to manage that and become okay with it. That's the nature of the game. Is that you're gonna feel a lot of pain, and you're gonna feel a lot of injustice, and you're gonna feel bored, and you're gonna watch everyone get these huge pots. And you're like, when is it my turn? And it might not be your turn for a long time. You can run so bad, and you have to be okay with that. And I think I'm doing better. Tilt is a thing I'm going to talk about a lot. Um, so I'm now going to transition into Piosolver stuff. So let's move this away, and we are going to do Piosolver. So remember when I said I want to work on my turn bets? I want to take a hand where let's go down here. Okay. I want to play. This is a basic two bet pot low jack versus button. The first person to act is the low jack. I know this play. You're going to be c betting most of the time here, so we'll say it was c bet. The person in position is going to be raising at a small frequency, 10% of the time. A lot of calls. When you're in position, you call a lot. So I know where to raise. Maybe ace queen, you raise. Maybe ace nine, you're going to be raising. Nines are raising. Nine eight. Sometimes I miss that. That's a bluff because it gets any overcard to fold. And then you might be drawing. You have like this weird two pair draw. Fours and fives is bluff. So there's not that many raises. The ones for value are sets of nines, two pairs, and maybe ace queen, but that's not even that frequently. So we'll assume that there's a call here. So now we're looking at the turn, and I want to find places where you bet huge. Okay, so and you got to think, what are you betting huge for? When you bet huge, you want to be um, betting for value, and you need someone that's capable of calling. So if you have ace king here, what are you betting for value? You're betting trip aces, and you're trying to get any lower ace to call. So that's where you're betting that for value. The nines, you're betting a set of nines, or actually a full house nines to get any ace. So you're attacking certain things. So that's where you size up. Okay, I got to remember that. And why is this board okay to make these big bets on? It's not very dynamic. So I'm just doing this for myself right now. Not very dynamic is not a good reason. There's other reasons, but here once again, this one is dynamic because you can have dynamic means there can be a big change in what the river nuts are based off of whatever river comes in. So there's a heart draw and then there's a straight draw, and that can change the nuts. So what are we going to be betting big here? Two pair for value. Ace nine is for value. King nine is for value. And you need someone to be able to call these hands, and so other aces will be calling. So yeah, there's a lot of dry ace boards will have 125% bet. The nines once again are doing that. All right, so let's look for a random jack. Okay, jacks you slow down. Ace jack might get big. Jack nine might hit big. But why would you not bet huge? Well, because the equities are pretty close here. The card is not good for the pre-flop aggressor who's out of position. Um, I'm doing this fast, but it's not like anything particularly came in. Maybe because there's no huge hands here. So let's see what happens if we bet three. All right, actually, what happens if we bet big? We're getting a lot of folds. So and we're getting raised by hands that are better than us. So maybe it's because they have all the equivalent, like they have ace jack, they have ace nine. We can't really see. We can bet this because we have ace king. They don't have ace king. So the equities are way closer. That king really drives the equities apart. The rainbow again here. Well, we can bet big with the rainbow, but why is the jack of hearts really no huge bets? I guess because the equities are closer. The equities have to be kind of far apart, and or see if we go equities here, you can still bet big. Equities are a little bit closer, but betting big, attacking it. Like if you have ace jack, you're attacking something. You're balancing it with like the queen 10 bluffs. So you can have it on a 10 or on a jack. Why not a 10? Equities are closer, especially top of the range, because they do have sets of tens probably in their range. Ace 10, ace 9. So we don't go big there. 10, we don't go big, we go small actually there. So 10's not good for the preflop raiser. Let's go with pairing the middle card. We would have bet, yeah, we can attack the 9. So we're attack. There's a reason you bet big, you're going after an ace. Um, I'm only talking about the aggressor, the preflop aggressor right now. So I'm thinking only in terms of the aggressor. And maybe that's what I'm going to focus on today. When can I, as the aggressor who's out of position, bet big? And I don't want to complicate things too much. On an 8, what changes? The equities are still kind of close, but you can bet big. Um, we'll have sets of 8s in there. We'll have sets of 9s. You know, it's just good to see that you can bet big. Where did the Piosolver go? Oh, it disappeared. Shoot. Let's bring that back up. All right. Let's just bring. There it is. We back? Yeah, we're back. We'll do this quickly. All right, dry board as the low jack out of position aggressor. We can bet 125. So if I'm learning anything for tonight, it's okay to bet 125. It's going to be two pair sets better. Some middling upper like higher cards are good for the caller, so we're not going to bet big there. They might get two pair type things. Low cards, you can still bet big. Still, I mean, like random 6. All right, your ace king is big. Ace 9. You're going for value against like maybe an ace. You want to get called by something. Ace 9 wants to get called by ace queen, ace jack. And then to balance the bluffs, where we got 9 8. Again, they like that. Sevens under pairs to get all of these to fold. Under pairs used as bluffs often because it gets over pairs, like in between pairs to fold. I think that's a pretty good play. Going to a 4. Once again, two pairs, two pairs, two pairs, set, set, set. So that's with betting big. And that's okay to bet big on all these random boards. So dry high to ace boards, okay to bet big. Let's do a hand or two here. Right now we're in the, let's, okay, deal a new hand. All right, now we're out of positions, the same thing. We're going to bet small here, call. Can we bet big here? No, because it's a jack. We didn't like, the jack's good for them. Can we bet small? And if we do, will we use sevens as a bluff? I might just check this. Yeah, you could bet small with sevens, and then I'm going to check that down. All right, not wrong. Um, here, we're in position. This is not what we're working on, which is being the in position caller with ace queen. I'm playing separately. Out of position. Here's going to be uh, we're going after an ace. So now we have set of 9s. This is where we're going to bet big. They Oh, the jack. Remember, we can't go after it with the jack. So that card changes the dynamic. Yeah, we have a small percentage of hands that bet big. but Jack wouldn't have been a great one. Let's replay this one and see if this is a check or raise on the turn. Bet small, call, check. Oh no, and then we can bet over bet here. Oh, maybe not. All right, that's a corner case. These are all wrong. I just did that wrong. Okay, so let's talk about what I learned today right before I finish my workout and then go play another session. Dry ace high boards, okay to have 125% bet. And that's going to be top pair, top kicker, two pairs, and sets are better. And then using the middle um, pair as a bluff and maybe some undercards. Uh, see if I can apply it. This is what I need to work on. Doing this for 10 minutes is not going to change exactly how I play, but it's putting it in my mind right now. So when I go play, it's going to be fresher. That's what this looks like. And that is Chronically Tilted Poker. I will see you tomorrow.